Welcome to the Richard Lawson Studios, where master teaching and innovative technology come together to empower artists and professionals to fulfill their dreams.
This is Lakshmi Manchu.
Hi. Richard, first of all, I want to thank you on behalf of all the students who are going to be watching this and me for doing this, because I think it'll be greatly helpful for actors who want to take your class and actors who want to learn more about what you do. So thank you again. You know, when I first came to LA, I had no idea. I didn't know who a manager was, I didn't know who an agent was, I didn't know what a headshot was, I didn't know what kind of a headshot I was supposed to take. I didn't know anybody in LA, you know, I came on my own. And for people like me, people who want to pursue a career in Los Angeles or in this industry, could you explain a little bit more about who an agent is and who a manager is?
Absolutely. Agents, agent is a definable entity. An agent has to be bonded, and there takes some training to be an agent, and they get 10%, and their job is clear in terms of what they do, in terms of negotiation. You know, when an agent is not doing their job, it's clear that they're not doing their job. A manager can come from just about any walk of life. Anybody can be a manager. All you have to do is just put your shingle up and call yourself a manager. There's no requirements. You don't have to be bonded. You don't have to be in any kind of union of any kind, you know. And so when a person is looking for a manager, they need to know what it is that they're looking for and what they want to happen, you know, and to see if that person has any track record in creating this thing that you want to happen. And you know, I had a manager at one point. His name was Ron Muchnick, and he's the late Ron Muchnick. And Ron was one of the most incredible people you've ever met. In terms of theater, Ron could take all the Schuberts and all the Nederlanders, those are the people who produced the major theaters, and take all of the people that work for them in terms of the knowledgeable people and put them on one side of the table and Ron on the other, and challenge them in terms of their knowledge of theater. Ron would blow them all away because Ron knew every single detail of every single production that was ever done. So theater was his world. And development, character, in terms of developing actors, that was his thing. Ron had no contacts in the television and film area, none. So therefore, he couldn't get through doors in this business in terms of film and television. But he can help develop an actor to become a better actor by knowing the plays and the parts and knowing people in theater and getting you at this, meeting this person at the Guthrie and this person up at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival and in Houston Shakespeare Festival and, you know, and at the Arena Stage in Washington and, you know, at the any theater in the country. But he couldn't get through the door in terms of film and television. And eventually that caught up with us. So what does a manager do? How do you define a manager? And most people don't know how to ask their managers what their strengths are. Everybody has strengths. Some managers come from being an agent and they can negotiate really well. Some managers come from being lawyers, and some managers come from just knowing a lot of people in the business. So you have to know what your manager's strengths and weaknesses are. You have to be able to ask that question. You have to find out what the relationship, what the mix and chemistry is between your agent and your manager. Now, if your manager's doing the same thing that your agent is doing, why do you need that manager? They're reading the breakdowns every day. The manager calls the agent and says, there's a part in so-and-so that would be right for Richard. And the agent says, yes, I get the breakdowns. I saw it. I know that. They're both calling about it? Or the manager's telling the agent to do what he already knows to do? It's a waste. So the agent gets 10%, the manager gets 15%. You're paying 15% more for something that one person is doing. Now, if the manager has the ability to pick up the phone and call this director and has connections with this studio and also has a knowledge of how to develop this actor and this actor's career, then this manager then becomes very specific. So an actor must know the difference between what agents do and what managers do, and then how to actually develop and exploit the relationship, meaning that you and your agent need to have a very specific relationship. What is that? You and your manager need to have a very specific relationship in terms of how often you talk and how you share your doing with your manager or your agent, so they really know what your dream is. And are they on the same page with you? Do they believe in what you believe in? And if they don't, can they collaborate with you? These are important relationships. You create a marriage of sorts. And so therefore you have to be able to make that work. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand the dynamics of the economics of agencies.
Yeah.
You know, an agent spends money on you every time they pick up the phone and call on your behalf. If an agent spends 5 minutes a day on your behalf, and most of them don't spend 5 minutes every day on you, unless you are their meal ticket, that they spend 5 minutes a day on you, you know, at the end of a year, you have cost the agency X number of dollars. And the way you figure out what that cost is, you take the amount of money that the agency makes during the course of a year, and you take the number of agents in that agency and divide that up, and you can break that down to what each agent's time is worth per hour. And what is that 5 minutes worth in that agent's time that's worth per hour? At the end of the year, what did they spend? $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on you in time, and you didn't get a job? You and that agency, the relationship is a little tenuous because of the fact that you're costing them money. You understand? Because time is money. So you have to know how to keep your costs down with your agency and increase their interest and their ability to sell you because of the evidence that you continually give them, which expands your casting and their ability to sell and market you.